Hey everybody, Rick the Radio Guy here with Dan O'Malley, and we're excited today. We're introducing Cisco Instant Connect 5. So Dan, tell us about Instant Connect 5.
Well, we have a whole new architecture, which we'll go into a little later, and we also are going to show the Incident Dispatch Console.
Yep.
So why don't you start that up while I'm showing the push-to-talk. And again, Instant Connect is this ability to instantly connect people over the internet, from radios to IP phone users. Testing 1, 2.
I'm going to start here with our new PC mobile client that we have available, which can also act as a desktop client. So let me get that going and let you continue here.
Perfect. So, customers ask us, why would we have something like that? Well, let's say you have people behind the desk and they want to talk to people out in the field. They can just launch this Windows client on their PC, and it basically does a push-to-talk from their desktop out to the users in the field, the two-way radio users, or people on IP phones. So what Rick's launching right now is the Instant Connect Windows client, which is really similar to our mobile client, just ported over to Windows.
This is a basic desktop client, which if you go back to the really old days of the previous product known as iPix, we had what we called the PC media client. This allows us to have this 1 or 2 channel client sitting on the person's desktop. And here you see it's just listening to the VHF radio. So why might I want to have this, you might be asking yourself. So let us suppose that I have, like Cisco, an emergency response team where we have a lot of folks around the campus who don't always have radios. Well, I can give them on their PC the ability to hear the radio and to hear the dispatch come out in case we have a medical emergency or a fire or something like that. And I can even minimize this, toss it into the background, and be doing my day-to-day work, just sitting here running my PC like I normally would. And then if the alert tones go out, got lots of feedback here today, Dan, then I'll have that client running on there.
And then if the person wants to talk back to the radio users, they just open up the little app that's running on their PC, they hit the green button, and now they're
feeding back through all the speakers right here through the inbound speaker. Exactly.
That's a great little way to involve normal users that won't have a push-to-talk radio. Right from their desk, they can talk to the other users who do have a push-to-talk radio.
So I'm going to disconnect that and exit now. And I'm going to come over here and open up the Incident Dispatch Console, the Cisco IDC. We have our splash screen come up here. Customizable. Now we hit OK, and we start loading the Incident Dispatch Console. It's going off and fetching the channels. It's authenticating us back with the server to make sure we're supposed to have these resources available to us. And then bada bing, here we go. And we see the channels populate. And I can turn the settings feature off here because we've got all of our settings set. We can see that there have been some alerts that have happened since the last time we started. And I guess we should probably talk a little bit about the alerts, Dan.
Sure. So the alerts, not just from the dispatch console, but from the mobile clients, we're tying into the accelerometer of the cellular phones. So what does that mean? If you do a fall, you can notice that there's a fall detection, which I won't send in, or a impact alarm. If somebody fell over, it's actually going to send in an alarm. So we'll let the impact alarm come through, and basically the dispatcher will see that there's something wrong in the field. Somebody fell down.
Oh my goodness.
It alerts other
Impact
mobile clients
alert.
and also alerts the dispatcher.
So I'm going to go and acknowledge those.
And so what acknowledge means is that you're going to turn off the bells, okay? So there's an audible signal. When you clear the alert, it actually turns off the emergency, and we'll show emergency here in a second.
This one says major alert, and I'm going to acknowledge it, and it tells me that somebody over there on that device had the alert. I had to acknowledge and go in and clear it. The system now allows you to have multiple levels of alert. You can have major alerts, you can have minor alerts, you can set them up to be triggered by the impact in the fall sensor. You can also, I set this up today, press this magic red button on the side, and now I've sent an emergency alert, okay? Which makes all kinds of noise, and we all have to acknowledge again, right?
So that annoying noise is the emergency alert, which is different from a minor alert, which we heard on the fall detection. So, and the other interesting thing is on the mobile clients, whoever sent the emergency alarm, they get the highest priority. So when they talk on the channel, their audio is basically preempting lower priority users. So that's an emergency situation. Their priority raises to the top, and they're able to communicate directly with the dispatcher or the other mobile clients.
I noticed that the border has turned red on the device, indicating that we're in the emergency alert status also.
Yeah, and if you wanted to go back from the emergency condition, you just click this, go to your emergency alarm, and then you clear that alarm. And once the alarm is cleared, it should go back to you actually have 2 emergency alarms here, Rick. Once those are cleared, it goes back to the blue border.
I was very excited about it, Dan. The other thing I noticed when I was setting this all up today was that these pop-up windows that you see on the screen in the lower right-hand corner, even if I bury the dispatch window behind other work, the pop-up windows will show up persistently and come to the top of the stack. So I could be monitoring, somebody could have this alert go off, and that alert would still pop to the top of the screen and get my attention. So one last thing I'm going to show is on the PC here down at the bottom, this user is set up to be able to send alerts also. And I'm going to send an alert in a couple seconds here. And now the dispatch center can send an alert out to the devices on the floor. Now, I have different levels of alerting set up. So I sent an informational alert. You didn't get all the beeps and bells and whistles, but you would see that come up in your alert queue.
So you click on this, and then you can see it's an information alert that's in the alert queue. Somebody's not going to get notified. There are no bells and whistles. Now this one's a bells and whistles.
There's a bells and whistles, but not all the ACK requirements. Yeah. All kinds of possible combinations and permutations. I guess I'll stop that here. That you can send. We have normal, high, medium, and emergency priority alerts, and those allow you to have different levels. We've talked a lot about alerts because it's a really cool feature. If you're using this out in the workforce, for instance, if you're a lone worker, you're in a hazardous situation, and now you've got a way to monitor the health of your folks in the field.
This is part of our Cisco Instant Connect 5.0 release, and it's great stuff that you're showing us here, Rick. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.